28th. Sorry, don't mean to disappoint you, not jobs, but yeah, I walked to, well, that worked out well. I walked to Miss Peach's. Now, I want you to look this up on your MapQuest, okay? I was on foot. Now, after looking at it, after that long-ass walk that I made, it's like a 6-hour walk. I didn't make that entire walk. There was part of it that I was on a bus, but most of the night I was walking, and that's because I was not physically... I should have still been using that cane. That was my first day without a cane. I had to make it there, no matter how much it hurt. No matter how much physical pain it put me in, I had to make it there to that meeting with Natalie so that I could show her what was going on. It's not my fault that Chelsea Worsing wasn't able to show up to verify it. She said she had to work. I did everything that I could to try to set it up so that it would be a safe environment for me and for her, so that we could meet on mutual ground. My suggestion, of course, was that that mutual ground be the police station. She didn't want to do that. Imagine that. You think she told them that? You think she told the cops that, oh, well, he wants to meet me at the police station, not the Starbucks? Why the fuck would I want to meet you at the Starbucks? This is something I was taking to the police and trying to get to the police and told her, hey, you have my number, give it to the fucking police. Have them call me. With that protection order, she wanted to meet at Starbucks. I wanted to meet at the police station, and I have proven that, and many people have verified that. But did they verify it in court, and did they verify it in a police report? Did my police reports go anywhere? No. Of course they didn't. And when you have to try to make them from inside of the jail, well, they don't let you make copies of them. So while you're trying to turn them in to the Nebraska State Patrol or the Colorado State Patrol or to the Attorney General's offices or whoever else, you don't even have a guarantee that those guards are going to mail it for you. People are dead because you don't care. Some people, you just assume, hey, he's ugly, he's homeless, he's probably lazy and a fucking addict and a fucking drug dealer and a fucking child molester. He's homeless. They're all child molesters, aren't they? Aren't all homeless people child molesters? Aren't all homeless people too lazy to get a job? Isn't that what you people tell us? That's right, goddammit, I'm calling you people. Now, Riverdale Road, obviously, if I was able to, just one day off of a cane, was able to walk most of that route, over 100 blocks of it, yeah, I probably could have walked all the way to Riverdale Road, which is only about 5 city blocks. Well, it's a few miles, but, you know, a city block is a lot bigger than a block in Chapel. I went to the people I needed to. The problem is that I need help sorting through the sheer quantity of it all. The great thing about me not trusting anyone is, well, once I learned how to record, I recorded everything that I possibly could. I took screenshots of the shit that, oh my god, if I'd have known how to take screenshots before Natalie was killed, my god, that could have saved us so much fucking time and energy. I'd have just taken a screenshot of the fucking harassment on the emails and fucking taken a screenshot of the fucking bullshit from Tim Beeson and fucking send that shit to her. by his own admission in those messages, he didn't tell Natalie he was doing that. The thing is that by that point, I'd already been abused for like half a year. I mean, count the months. That abuse started right after my birthday, before I had that meltdown. That abuse started by Alicia Bollinger. Natalie Bollinger went along with what her fucking family wanted. That's not the same thing as me being a fucking bad guy. Now, I send this evidence out over and over and over again. Like clockwork, the same stuff. The same bits and pieces of information so that you guys can verify that the people that I said, or at least their email addresses, that I did send it to those addresses. I hoped that you guys that I sent this to would send out to everyone you fucking knew. I told the truth. You don't get to condemn an innocent man and pretend like he's a bad person. You just don't get to do it. Condemn an innocent man and then pretend that he's a bad person for defending himself. Meanwhile, was I allowed to defend myself in court? No, I wasn't. Was I allowed to make a police report? Not at the beginning. Afterwards, I was eventually allowed to make a police report, but they didn't go anywhere. Surprise, surprise, surprise the fucking prize. Even after I got the ability to photocopy those things. See, I got photocopies of the protection order that I wrote for, God, what was it? Was that Robert Warnick, or was it the one against... I think the one I was able to get a photocopy of was the one against Ted Bollinger. Of course, I didn't have his address. Now, it's a funny thing. When you're being stalked, one of the things that is, well, one of the criteria of being a stalker is they want to know where you're at. I didn't ask where Natalie was at. I never asked where Natalie was at. I didn't care where Natalie was at. I assumed she was in Virginia, hundreds of miles away, until she told me she wanted to meet me in Boulder. When I got to Boulder, turned out it wasn't her. Miss Peaches, that's Kayla Trujillo, gave me the ride from Boulder, from her house to, from her house on Melody and 120th in Aurora to Boulder, Colorado. So my walking route, that wasn't the end of the trip. Like, I didn't go right by her house because I was like, oh yeah, I'm some homeless dude in Boulder and now I'm gonna tra-la-la and fucking trounce through fucking Denver looking for fucking Natalie. No. I was trying to get help stopping fucking abuse. Ken and Leah stealing my fucking money. And the fucking bullshit from the threats and the assaults from people like Tim fucking Beeson. Did Tim Beeson ever fucking assault me? No. He ain't got the testicular fortitude. He's a goddamn mouth. No, you all have to be afraid of Ted. Ted Bollinger. That's the motherfucker that you need to be afraid of. Natalie loved him. Even after telling all these people that he fucking raped her, that he had literally pimped her out to pay off debts, knew that she was selling drugs for this man, why didn't anybody do anything? Why didn't anybody even try? The stuff that I knew about, I tried to do something about. I didn't know she was being molested by her dad. What I knew is that she was in a sleeping bag with Emery, and, well, one of them was in a sleeping bag with Emery, and the other one was in a sleeping bag with Arturo. I think Emery was like 28 at the time, and Arturo was like 26, and Natalie and Alicia, by according to what they had to say, were 13 or 14. Holy hell. And I didn't see them for literally years after that. Obviously, the next time that I ran into either one of them, I'd forgotten they fucking existed. Here I am, I'm sitting just off of Broadway and Pearl Street, just south, over on the west end, of course, closer to the mountains. So there's this bank there, and there's this little drive-through, and I was sitting there and taking a break. I was fucking exhausted, and well, there's these two young women, and they're walking with two gentlemen who, well, they look to be, at the time I would have sworn they were in their 30s, okay, but I'm not going to quote that. I'm going to try to give the benefit of the doubt. They were at least their late 20s, though. And I can be real nice and lenient and say maybe mid-20s. But the thing is that these were grown-ass adults that were escorting these women. They were not alone. It's not like it was just me and two underage girls. They were with two adult chaperones. Now, my assumption at the time was that these were their boyfriends. Possibly they were out on dates. I don't know. What I do know is that's when I assumed that they were 18. It had been years. They had been gone. They came back. They were with two grown adult men. So, I mean, there's not going to be an issue with talking to them. When they come up to me and approach me and talk to me and want to give me a hug and give me their names and give me their Facebook shit and tell me to hit them up on Facebook. Well, I did. I sent one message to each one of them, and then I forgot about them again. Turns out they were only 17. And when Natalie was 18, she got a hold of me. And I also got to see her sister with a guy named Pierre Worsbluck. He's the one who, he also goes by Pierre Byron. He's the redheaded feller who, he threw a party when his parents were gone in Longmont. And this is on the news and verifiable too. His name is Pierre, P-I-R. Strange name, right? Well, some people have strange names, which is a good thing. Everybody and their fucking mother apparently here in Hood River named their kid Sean, because when I'm at Starbucks, I look up and so one of the staff members noticed it and made mention that I look up every time they say Sean, and there are a lot of Seans. And a couple of the people at Starbucks have really different names that nobody I've ever known has. So the thing is that the narrative of the story is not the same as the truth. That's the problem with, all right, in the very beginning, I was corresponding with these people. I was corresponding with Miss Peaches and explaining to her, hey, you know, they're trying to pretend that when I walked from Ken and Leah's house to your house, that I was in Boulder and I was looking for Natalie. You knew my intent. It's on the same day that I went on the walk from fucking Ken and Leah's to Miss Peaches, and I made that walk twice. The first time I made that walk is because Miss Peaches was going to give me a ride so that I could go meet Miss Natalie, even though she didn't want to see me at the police station, and that's the only place I really, at that point, felt comfortable doing it. Now, I had rent that I was paying in Chapel, Nebraska, and I had rent that I was paying at Ken and Leah's. I couldn't keep both places. Natalie did want to get a protection order against me. I did want to get a protection order against Tim Beeson. It's not like I didn't let her know who the dogs were. The more she played victim, the more people came at me. The more people came at me, the more I went to her and everyone else trying to get help stopping it. My messages from that period of time are chock full of me trying to get help. My paper trail for that period of time. Well, there's not really much of a paper trail on gas, is there? But where I was staying in Chapel, Nebraska versus where I was going to my appointments to see my therapist that you guys want to pretend that I wasn't going to see. Why was I going to those therapists? Because apparently, when you're disabled, you have to jump through years worth of hoops so that you can prove that you're disabled, so that you can force them to take a report when they refuse to take a report because you're disabled. Holy shit, this is fucking crazy, ain't it? This is your land of the free, home of the brave, and fucking equality. Don't ever tell me a soldier is fighting for my freedom. Don't ever tell me a soldier is fighting for my rights. Ever. Do not ever pretend to me that the people who are picking up guns and murdering people in foreign countries for the same son of a bitches who created a system to murder the fucking poor wholesale. No, these are not my fucking friends. You get no goddamn sympathy. You chose to go murder people, not knowing a goddamn thing about how the country works. You knew what you were told, and you know what it was like living in mommy and daddy's fucking house. I'm glad the military didn't take me. After being homeless, when I was a kid, I was told, when I'm an adult, I can do something about it. When I'm an adult, don't fucking lie to me. When I'm an adult, you call me mentally ill and treat me like I'm a fucking kid. You treat me like I'm too fucking retarded to know what the goddamn system is like when I grew up in the goddamn system. You murdered my friends by treating me like a fucking retard when I came to you. When I told you the truth. Megan Messikadis. It took her 6 fucking months to tell those cops what she should have told them on the first fucking day. I got recording after recording after recording. If she said she did that at the very beginning, because when she made the phone call with me, yeah, it was months later when she finally did that. You have any idea what it's like? Your autism advocate won't listen to you. She's talking about herself and her family all the fucking time. She's talking about her time constraints, and basically she's treating you like you're a fucking burden because she's a volunteer. No, I'm going to you because the cops fucking told me to. If I don't fucking go to you, they say I didn't fucking try. And even if I do go to you, you don't write a fucking police report, and they still say I didn't fucking try. What the fuck, Mag? People are allowed to literally threaten to kill me. Literally threaten to kill my fucking family. Over people pretending. Where's the fucking evidence? Show me one goddamn shred of evidence that I threatened to kill Natalie Bollinger or her fucking family in Virginia in 2016. Show me one fucking shred of evidence that I threatened to kill her or anyone in her fucking family or Tim Beeson in 2017. That's right. You fucking can't, because it does not fucking exist. You want to call those open-ended threats? Well, I have literally thousands of those. Literally thousands. Going back to way back before Natalie was fucking killed, you stupid pieces of shit. Molly Smith did go in with me, but she didn't know shit about the situation and she hasn't spoken up about it afterwards. Most of that, according to her, is because of her knee. I want to believe her. She says she's going to speak up. I want to believe her. When is she going to speak up? When the statute of limitations is over? She had knee surgery. I'm doing my best to try to be patient as I can be. I recorded her saying that she was going to bring that evidence in. You guys pretended like I made these stories up, like I made these people up, and like I made evidence up. No, I gave it to people for safekeeping. Every time I tried to turn cops in, they pulled the mentally ill thing and locked me up. Every time I tried to turn one of my predators in, they refused to do their job. They didn't have to because I'm mentally ill. I must be schizophrenic. You saw how thick that DSM-5 is earlier. I literally showed you the DSM-5, the book itself, the book of mental illnesses, the therapist's fucking Bible. And we read, what, the first goddamn page of just the list of what's in there? And meanwhile, you want to blanket it and pretend like everybody who's called mentally ill is a school shooter or a Unabomber or a Jack the Ripper or a Jeffrey Dahmer. The fact is, PTSD is also in there, post-traumatic stress disorder. The fact is that OCD is not a stalker thing. Obsessive compulsive disorder is not an infatuation with human beings. I got to touch door handle a couple of times before I touch it. Now, you guys, you see in the movies, all of these killers, they make them weirdos. That's what you guys like to call us, right? We're weirdos. They make them unattractive and bald, missing teeth, or ugly teeth. So, I mean, Hollywood is painting for you an image of the bad guys or ugly people. Ugly people are the bad guys, and the good guys are, well, obviously, Jason Momoa is a good guy. He's good looking. He's got to be a good guy. He's fucking good looking. Johnny Depp cannot be a fucking predator. He's good looking. Disney is supposed to be for kids, right? Johnny Depp, after... well, him and Amber both admitted to that whole jar of cocaine thing, their jar of cocaine. Shit, the stuff that they admitted to is more kid unfriendly than the stuff they were claiming is slander. Also, knowing that they were digging into a giant jar of fucking cocaine. Yeah, I believe they were both abusive as fuck to each other. Listen to the argument that they had between her and Johnny Depp. Yeah, Johnny Depp had the upper hand the whole time. He really did. Amber Heard ain't no good at arguing. She's also not as good at hiding her emotions. I mean, Johnny Depp was laughing through that whole fucking thing, and you guys ate it up. And then you guys want Amber Heard out of the movie with the other guy that many women say that they wish he would rape them, Jason Momoa. Why do I say the other guy that women say that about? Because I've heard women say it. I was saying that, all right, so Amanda, not Amanda Demet, not Amanda Engeline, not Amanda Balehash, not Amanda Jonas, Amanda Payne. That's Tom Payne's daughter. Shit, I spent so much of my energy trying to remember her name, I don't remember the story I was going to tell. Isn't that wonderful? Had to happen. That's one of the things about having an exhausted and overwhelmed mind, an exhausted and overwhelmed body, and you get no rest. Oh, yes, I remember now. I said that I did not like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, that it was literally the worst movie that I'd ever seen. And to this day, yeah, it's it's worse than any B movie I've ever seen by far. Oh my God, that's a movie that if I'd watched it in theaters, I would have walked out. But when I said that to Amanda and her mom, these are like diehard Johnny Depp fans. Most women in America since 21 Jump Street have been on that bandwagon. And that's statistically. There was nobody, after looking at the way that the media, and this is why I make my decisions based on people's opinions, not on what the law says, not on what the media says. People's opinions are what matters most. People wanted Johnny Depp to be innocent. The judge didn't want to get in trouble with the women of this country. Shit. It's a tough one, ain't it? You know, I was on Johnny Depp's side from the start. But then after seeing him at trial and all the rest of it, you know, it's not fucking okay. So Disney wants him back in the Pirates movies. No, if they're going to let him back, a lot of people are saying to remove Amber Heard's face from the Aquaman movies with Jason Momoa. Matter of fact, Jason Momoa is somebody I speak about frequently, or have in the past. That's because many of these women who want to say all men are pigs and all they care about is sex, and that men need to stop objectionalizing women, are posting up half-naked pictures of Jason Momoa. Well, that's hypocrisy. But it's okay for them, it's not okay for you. It's okay for a woman to change her mind, it's not okay for you. The Me Too, Me Too, Me Too movement hates all men, including male victims, unless it's Johnny Depp. Me Too, Me Too, Me Too sounds like a greedy child. That doesn't sound at all like a movement for the victims. Especially if you're going to say Me Too, but you're going to ignore the male victims, or shame or blame the male victims. Natalie Bollinger did the horrible shit that she did to me because of fucking drugs and because of her family. But I'm not allowed to show that in court. I showed it all over my Facebook so I could get help showing that in court. So that I could get help getting an advocate to help show that in court, to the police, to where it needed to go to. And I'd been trying for over a year, and the evidence shows that too. I've showed you guys the list of cards from going to see those people in Sydney, Nebraska. Every appointment came with a card. Told me when I was supposed to be at my next appointment next week. Now, I got real expensive when I was still trying to go back and see Nicole Peralta, my therapist. By the way, that $100 that Kinga gave me, she sent me right before Natalie had died, and I hadn't picked it up yet. I don't think I ever picked it up. I don't. I don't think I ever picked that $100 up. That $100 was supposed to be so I could go see Nicole Peralta, my therapist in Sydney, Nebraska. Jeff Ritter wasn't going to be able to do anything until after the first of the year. Kara Heller was just Ditzy as fuck. Smart lady, but ditzy. She was supposed to be my caseworker. Instead, Jeff Ritter was kind of sort of trying to do the caseworker thing, and he was only taking it on as a favor for Nicole Gerald, who was a friend of mine at the time. Well, she dipped out. She don't want to fess up to the fact that she's the one that turned me on to Jeff Ritter. She also doesn't want to admit that she did a lot of unprofessional things in the past. Imagine that. If she had come forward and told the truth when I first asked, well, I probably still would have told you all the carrot story because I'd already told it. I just hadn't used her name. But now you know, Nicole Gerald is the woman who tried to sexually assault me with a carrot. Did sexually assault me with a carrot. And of course, I wasn't prepared for it. I was washing my hands to wash dishes. I had just put soap in my hand, and when she stabbed me right square in the butthole, the actual hole, she stabbed me through my jeans, direct. She had perfect aim. And I spun around. Who wouldn't? You just got stabbed in the butthole with carrot fucking Zella. These things go to her horses. She feeds these things to Runky. Runky and Mary Jane, that was the name of her horses. One of them was a horse and one of them was a pony. Runky was an ass, but he was nice to me. She was from Nederland, Colorado. She was, you remember I told you all about the girl I lost my virginity to? Brianna Hernandez Cordona. I lost my virginity to her when when she was 19. Prior to that, she was telling Nicole Gerald about our horrible breakup and a bunch of really fucking delusional shit about how we were dating. And, you know, this was at the point in time where, all right, me and Nicole Gerald were thinking about dating. And she was telling me about all this stuff that, you know, she's going through. I believe it's called not the center. It's the connection, something like that. It's just for kids. And Nicole Gerald was one of the things for her internship through Naropa. I told you I'm familiar with Naropa. It's a hippie college. But Nicole Gerald, she almost dated me, and there was a situation with one of these guys that I'm telling you about that several people have verified this guy exists. We call him Shovelhead Red, or just Red for short. His name is Bobby Sims. A lot of people know him. I mean, Tabby knows him. We spoke about Bobby Sims a few times. He's somebody I've known a lot of years. Well, Nicole Gerald's mom had invited a traveler up, and that traveler, she told this traveler to bring some of his friends. Now, these guys didn't know that Nicole's family was vegan, and they cooked meat in these cast iron skillets that had never had meat in them, and they cooked meat in it. And this is one of those things where, well, Bobby, he saw me, he recognized me, and so, of course, he is a friend of mine. He is somebody that I knew. I understood that he had some mental problems. When his friend was cooking steak, they were invited up for dinner. When his friend was cooking steak in the cast iron skillet and her mom threw a fit, you know, I left. I wasn't gonna, no. But apparently, because my friends had cooked meat in their cast iron skillet that had never had meat in it, that it was my fault because I was friends with Bobby Sims. And Nicole wholeheartedly pushed that on me. I mean, this is a woman who's going to school to be a therapist, and she pushed all of that on me. And I just had to try to forgive her for that. But that ate at me. That ate at me and ate at me and ate at me. Where's the common sense in this? I didn't invite Bobby up. I wouldn't have invited Bobby up. It's not that I don't love Bobby. I mean, I was hoping to date Nicole, and Bobby would not have been helpful on that because Bobby is a pussy chaser. You know what that means. It means that any time that there is a female, he's going to fight for that attention to the ends of the fucking earth. And Nicole is a pretty badass lady. Being sexually assaulted with a carrot, she had asked me for permission to fuck me in the butthole with a carrot before. And I told her no. She kept on asking, and I kept on telling her no. She kept on saying stuff like, "Where's your sense of adventure?" I don't... Nicole, I had grown-ass men shove their dicks up my asshole. No, I don't want things shoved up my asshole. It's not okay to shove things up my asshole. When I say no, you don't get to shove a carrot up my ass, I mean you do not get to shove a carrot up my ass. And that's the only time I ever hit a woman. And it was completely by accident. I spun around so quick, she was like close to me, like danger close, like face to face with me when I spun around. And I noticed that my hand was going to hit her in the face, and I barely like matrix maneuvered it so that it didn't hit her. And I was looking at my hand because it had to pass between our faces this close. I was looking at my hand, and the hand that had the hit her right in the side of the head. And it wasn't on purpose. She knew it wasn't on purpose. But after that, yeah, I was ashamed to talk to her. It's not like I had intended to hit her. It's that I was in motion because somebody had just sexually assaulted me with a goddamn carrot. This is a woman who went to Naropa to become a therapist. She's the therapist that I went to. She's a women's therapist, specifically. So, obviously, there's a lot of services just for women, but these services don't exist for men. So she was kind of sort of my therapist at the time, even though there's a conflict of interest in that because we almost dated once. And I don't hate her for sexually assaulting me with a carrot. But I hate that she did it. I absolutely hate the fact that she did it. Now, I don't expect Nicole Gerald to come forward now about any of her involvement in... Obviously, I was trying to get help. That's what I needed these people to come forward and admit to. I was trying to get help. I was in contact with literally dozens of people trying to get help. Everybody pulling me every which way, telling me I got to do this, I got to do that. And I'm jumping through all these hoops, and none of them did a goddamn thing to get these predators turned in. So when I told these people, hey, you need to come forward or I'm going to. You need to tell the truth about me or I'm going to tell the truth about you. And I absolutely meant it. And that's not blackmail. That, at that point, is allowing them to save some semblance of their honor by telling the truth instead of forcing me to do it. Showing how shameful that they've been. Showing how shameful they chose to be. I did the honorable thing in all that I did. I love like a dog. Let me tell you something. Dogs are made of love. And I know that sounds like some sort of a crazy fucking hoopla, but let me explain. If you're afraid of something, your dog's going to growl at it. How does your dog know that you're afraid? It just does, and it growls at it. Why? Because it wants to protect you. There's a lot of people that like to claim that their dog is racist. Their dog barks at every black person. No, dog's not racist. That dog is not racist. You're afraid of black people. Your dog knows that you're afraid of black people. Your dog is not racist. You are. You won't admit it, though, because racism has a connotation of hate and an expression of hate. Not all racists are hateful. Most of them are fearful. They're fearful because an event happened in their life. My mom hates Mexicans because one Mexican raped her once, but she doesn't hate all white guys because her own father raped her. She's got a different set of rules for one person than she does for another. We're used to this, ain't we? That's why we got the Constitution. It's supposed to make us equal. It does not work out that way, does it? Why? The lawyers and the courts. Sure, we're equal on paper and blah, blah, fucking blah, but if you ain't got the money for a goddamn civil lawyer and every fucking cop knows it, that's their biggest fucking joke. After they assault you, after they spit in your food or throw it across the floor, it's, well, you get a hold of the lawyer when you get out. You tell me that I got to do this myself. Well, I've gone in by myself and I've been denied those rights because these people know that they can call me mentally ill and pretend anything happened whatsoever, even with the evidence recorded. The biggest issue is, even though I've tried to make police reports over the internet, and a few people have tried to help me with that, they never tried to help me with that because they never spoke up. And as a result, the slander by those officers with us that I didn't even try. There's nothing but evidence that I tried. Evidence that I tried to get it into court. That everybody else wanted to make violent suggestions. Everybody else make these suggestions, and I told them no. Bunches and bunches and bunches of it. All behind that fucking mound of goddamn garbage. If I ever hit a woman, yes, Nicole Jarrell. Now, is she going to admit to it? Probably not. Because along with admitting that, well, that lends an ear to the fact that I've been telling the truth. This is the reason that I needed people to come forward to begin with. My stories are true. But when they didn't come forward, and they had every chance and every opportunity to do so, and they didn't, they kept on lying to me or bullshitting me or just outright pretending I don't exist, or spreading slander of their own about me because, well, people are cowards and they wanted to get on the bandwagon. These people were my friends, but now the popular people hate Sean Schwartz. So these people, even though they had told me, hey man, if you ever need anything, dude, fucking you did me solid, you did me right, fucking I probably would have froze to death. Well, no, it was the middle of the summer. You might have froze to death if you slept on the cement, but you slept on the grass. But afterwards, like, I don't fucking know you, you're fucking sicko, you're a fucking perv. Fucking, I heard about you. Fucking holy Christ. I told you all that this shit was going on. And it didn't stop when Natalie died. That's why I'm still able to get evidence of it still going on. Maddie Perez typed, oh no, that was terrible. I pray for God. You're right. What are you doing in the car? I live in the car. I've been forced into homelessness repeatedly because Natalie died. I can't afford to jump through the court's hoops. I live on $800 a month in disability. That's not enough to live on. especially when your car breaks down, especially when you are disabled and you're telling people it's not safe for you to drive, but they're forcing you to drive to court date after court date. And it's so expensive to do that. And with every court date, you have to go on a different day to go see your public pretender. So you got to pay for that. And then you got to go on a different day to go see your, the investigator. The investigators literally not once ever did an investigator show up. Never. Never once. With all of those public pretenders telling me I had to set up the meetings with these investigators and I had to show up, they never once showed up. My public pretenders showing up at court was about 50-50. My public pretenders showing up to the meetings that they had arranged with me was about 50-50. No call, no shows, repeatedly. Witnesses like Graham Milbourne did try to write police reports. I was told it wasn't on official parchment and he had to turn it in. I was told, how do we know you didn't write that? It's not that these people didn't try, it's that they didn't try in the only way that works. You have to go in together. Mandy Hughes claimed on multiple occasions that she had tried on her own. This is after telling me that she couldn't go in with me because she had warrants. The day she was going to go in with me, she tells me she's got warrants, she can't. But then I'm a bad person for saying that. While the police are saying that people never were going to help me. The paperwork shows that the police lied. My evidence shows that the police lied. What these people said to me and typed to me and messaged with me shows that the police lied, and I know that it was the police who lied and not these people. But these people, well, the stories that they had to say versus the stories that the cops had to say did not match up. I'm angry with all these people because they were supposed to help me. The only help I needed was help turning in that evidence and having it taken seriously. The only way to do that is with help. When you're called mentally ill, they have so many loopholes that they can use to deny you your rights. These rights you take for granted. Somebody who's called mentally ill, who has family, who cares, well, they still have rights. They have the right to somebody who is disabled. When somebody is disabled and alone, they're not disabled anymore, they're mentally ill. When your uncle molests you and your family says, oh, well, he's mentally ill. So they're now protecting your uncle because he's mentally ill. Well, now you've got a pretty healthy hatred for the title of mentally ill. What mental illness did your uncle have? Are you going to hate everybody of that mental illness just like my mom hates everybody who's brown? Because it seems to me that's not very fucking intelligent. It seems to me, although you want to be judged on your own merits, you don't want to be judged on your own merits because you have none. None. You got my friends killed, you son of a bitches. You got your friends killed, you son of a bitches. You killed Natalie. The police killed Natalie. Natalie's family killed Natalie. Joseph Lopez didn't kill Natalie. He was just the right tool at the right time. Matty Perez types, I pray to God for you. Matty Perez, Natalie Bollinger was killed in 2017 in December. You should look her name up. It wasn't this year. It's that this is still going on. 6 years of not having an advocate. 6 years of not having a guardian. 6 years of trying to get one. 6 years. 6 years of having my rights denied because I'm called mentally ill. 6 years without a guardian to protect those rights. 6 years without someone to go in with me for my safety. 6 years of being blown off, and the term mentally ill is the excuse. 6 years of officers destroying evidence, hiding evidence, and pressing false charges, and lying to hospitals. 6 years of it. 6 fucking years. Natalie Bollinger lied. There's a bunch of that stuff that she said about me in her final post that was true, but what she left out was that her and her sister asked me to do those things. And the evidence shows that. Why did all these people want to be my friends and talk to me? People like Dan Fabert and Layla Johnson and all of them. It's because when I posted up the evidence, they read it. They actually read it, but they didn't try to turn it in. When they claimed that they tried to turn it in, well, the cops said that they didn't. Are the cops telling the truth, or are you? The cops said you never tried, but you didn't bother to take the name of the officer who did it, did you? You did not do anything useful. You're claiming you made this report. You don't have a copy of the report. You don't know the name of the officer. You don't know the day. This is all the stuff that they're harming me for. Meanwhile, Natalie Bollinger didn't put any of that in that court stuff, did she? No, she didn't. She left it as fucking vague as possible. When she lied in there, she wanted to make it little white lies and lie as little as possible, I suppose, except that she lied a shit ton. What she was trying to do is discredit me. To claim that when I was trying to get help stopping the threats, the harassment, the assaults, the stalking that was going on for an entire year before Natalie was killed, I was trying to get a stop put to that. I've had recurring dreams about war since I was a kid. When I was a little kid, I went to Longmont, Burlington Elementary School in Longmont. At Burlington Elementary School, in my dream, it's basically been bombed out. There's this big long trough that's used as a bathroom to pee in, and all the walls have been blown away except for the one the trough is against and part of a doorway. And in that dream, you know, I'm not killing people in my dreams. I don't even have a gun in my dreams. I'm just going to the bathroom. I can hear the bombs going off. I can hear the war in the distance, but it's peaceful in the bathroom at Burlington Elementary. What's the moral of that story? There isn't one. It's just a recurring dream. Trauma manifests itself in a lot of ways. Now, when this situation with Natalie first started, I was so incredibly nice. I mean, I took the blame for things I didn't even fucking do. I took the blame for fucking every goddamn thing, and even said that I was the bad guy and allowed them to have their win. You can have your win. Just leave me alone. I admitted I fucked up. I was the one with a busted down vehicle in the middle of the fucking road, dehydrated as shit. Invited there. These people, the whole time I was in Virginia, they're inviting me to go do stuff and telling me that they love me. So, I'm wanting to see the evidence of all this stuff that they claim happened. They didn't have to show evidence. If I'd have known that I had a court date on the 22nd, I'm going to tell you something. Even though I didn't have the money, I had like $2 on my Starbucks card. Hell or high water, I would have walked to that too. But I didn't know I had a fucking court date. No, those officers have an obligation to tell you about how those protection orders work, that it's temporary, and that you have a court date. That didn't happen. I tried to get him to take a report from me. He wouldn't do it. That was Officer Michael West. That was the officer who was there the day that I was served the protection order. I wanted to meet at the cop shop. I wanted to be able to show my side. And I never got to. They got a free fucking win. And the cops kept handing them free wins. And they got away with taking advantage of me and not doing their jobs. And treating me fucking horribly and assuming my fucking guilt. And these people who knew better, people like Miss Peaches, who knew that that route that I walked, it wasn't like I walked from Boulder, Colorado to Denver, Colorado to go find Natalie and fucking kill her. I was already south of Denver, living at Ken and Leah's in their fucking garage so I could be at the front range. Like Nicole Peralta told me that I needed to do. She said there's no services in western Nebraska. You guys get to hear after Natalie's death. I told you that that happened before these officers in western Nebraska and these other agencies and these other people told me exactly the same thing when I went for help before Natalie died. There's no services in western Nebraska. You got to go to Lincoln or you got to go to the Front Range. All the best services are in the Front Range. That's where you got to go. I didn't have a support network at all in Lincoln. I didn't know anyone in fucking Lincoln. I didn't know Meg Misgatus existed. She didn't know I existed until years, literally years after Natalie was killed. But all this shit got fucking pawned off on her because cops kept on telling me it's not their job. These officers who are supposed to investigate this told me it's not their jobs. Adult Protective Services never, ever made any effort to investigate any of this shit. They never bothered to try looking at the evidence or gathering it. They want me to do it across the internet. Are you going to help me do it across the internet, for Christ's sake? Are you going to verify that I did it? That's what I need. All these people who had blown me off before Natalie was killed, I didn't want to go telling all their reasons for blowing me off. What they could have done is they could have said, well, Sean did ask for me for help, and I told him that my grandma died and I would try later. And then life just happened. But that's not what you did. It's not what you did at all. Just like I said you would, because of the accusations that you were just going to hide in a corner. You weren't going to tell the truth. All right, I'm getting comments here. It says, Maddie Prez typed, it is okay to talking about it when you emotion get out of feeling. I feel bad. I hope you okay. Why people bully you? Look up the name Natalie Bollinger. You'll see why. They painted me as a monster. And to this day, I don't have anyone to help me in person turning in the evidence. A lot of people promised to help me. They came from these web sleuth groups. They're infatuated with death. And when I got there, they wanted to continually watch shows about death, knowing that it traumatizes me. They wanted to continually talk about shooting people as a solution instead of helping me to turn in the evidence safely so that I wouldn't get given the mentally ill treatment. The United States is a nasty place and everyone fucking knows it. Part of the reason that it's such a nasty place is because supposedly good people do nothing. When good people do nothing, that is evil enough. Your silence is your consent. Your silence is compliance. It's not that I didn't go to people about the abuse. It's that rather than help me to turn it in, they wanted to tell me what to think and what to feel and not even find out what was going on. Universally, when Miss Peaches was finally going to sit down and fucking listen after over a year of fucking hell out of her. I mean, I'm afraid to speak up because if I do speak up, then I get snapped at. When she says, you know, Sean, you should have tried harder, when I was trying to explain what was going on to her repeatedly before Natalie was killed. Well, you should have tried harder. No. When I tried harder, I got snapped at. You know, I have a life too, Sean. I know. I fucking know. That's why that night that you were drunk, but at least listening, and A-Bear got up and his opinion was more important than you listening to what the fuck was going on. And you and him fucking both drunk screaming at me about that. And you wanted to pawn it all off on A-Bear in that video. It wasn't just A-Bear. So these people all admitted in these videos that I did go to them for help. And the cops have gone out of their way not to look at it. I am overwhelmed. I can't do this shit myself in these conditions. There was twice that I was able to get housing since Natalie died. However, I didn't have the money to jump through the court hoops and have those places at the same time. Well, people were trying to convince me to skip state and not go to court. That was Miss Peach's suggestion. That was everyone's suggestion for me to move, for me to flee the state. Miss Peaches wanted me, instead of going to court with me to speak up, she wanted me to get warrants out for my arrest by not going to those court dates and going to Florida to live with a guy named Peace. That's not his real name, though. I got him recorded, too. But who do I turn it into? I can't turn it into the departments in the jurisdictions where it's at because of the crimes that those departments committed. And because still, to this day, I don't have assistance with doing that across the internet. You know, if I say you lied, it's because you let the cops get away with slandering not just me, but also you. You did lie. You said you would help me to turn this in. I needed a safe environment where I could process this shit and turn it in. From the very start, it wasn't just let's drop Sean off in a room for a couple of nights and call it good. No, I needed to turn the evidence in. People wanted to tell me that I was a horrible person because I didn't go to the homeless shelter, because that was their solution for a safe place. Are you out of your fucking mind? There are homeless people beating the shit out of each other in front of me over whether or not I killed Natalie Bollinger at that fucking point in time, and you're telling me to go to a whole congregation of them? Including many of these predators, many of these fucking tweakers that are friends with Matty Boa? You're out of your fucking mind. One lady, she wanted to promise she was going to help me, and Then she wanted to also swear up and down that she had talked to me. She never talked to me ever. She did give me her phone number. I called up her phone number. Her husband answered, and he was an asshole. So I got on Facebook. I was like, hey, I called that number. It's a woman's profile. I was like, I called that number. It's a dude. It's a dude who answered. And holy shit, she fucking flipped her fucking wig on me. And then tried playing fucking victim. A lot of people fucking did that. And then they wanted to go running around saying, oh, well, this horrible dude is fucking stalking me. Like that lady from Nova Scotia who was wanting to threaten to cut off my nuts and cut my throat and harass me and all that shit. Yeah, I did message her back. She gets to escape prosecution and they get to pretend that it never happened. They get to pretend that I'm delusional and schizophrenic for saying it because it didn't happen in their jurisdiction. Meanwhile, they can talk about anything they want from any other jurisdiction. Fuck the police. Miss Peaches could have come forward at any point in time about the fact that, yes, that walk from Ken and Leah's up Federal, see the route that I sent y'all, it's the quickest walking route according to that. Well, that's not the route that I took. Federal was a straight shot. It's a straight road all the way up. It's not a bunch of winds like this. I knew my back was fucked up. I knew my legs was fucked up, and I was pretty sure I was not going to make it. I was pretty sure I was not going to make it to see Natalie when she wanted to see me. This is my one chance to talk to Natalie and show the fucking evidence of what people like Tim fucking Beeson and Maddie fucking Boa are fucking doing to me. But no, she lied. She manipulated, she twisted and contorted, and she wanted to make her predators happy. I get it. At my fucking expense. I don't matter, I'm just a hobo. After all of her I love you, and even the I'm in love with yous. No, I was not comfortable with those. When she said and typed several times that she thought she was in love with me, I'm like, find a way to convince her out of that, Sean. Explain to her that you've had enough penises and enough carrots up your ass for a lifetime. That you'd have had enough of women treating you like you're shit when you don't get the hints, all right? If you don't tell me you want to fuck straight up, I'm not going to fucking figure it out on my own, okay? I'm not going to figure it out on my own. If you're not straightforward about me about how you want some fucking dick, you don't get to be a fucking asshole to me because I didn't get the fucking hint. I told you I don't get hints. If you're interested in me, you gotta fucking tell me straight up. Unfortunately, and I'll tell you, there are people who have told me straight up. Underage girls. That young woman that I lost my virginity to, Brianna Hernandez Cordona, I lost my virginity to her when she was 19. Well, let me tell you about when she was 17. It was back when I was trying to date Nicole Carroll. We'd agreed to go out on a date that we never went out on a date. We didn't. But we were gonna, I guess, until I got stabbed in the asshole with a carrot. That's what ended the whole thing. I mean, by that point, I was already sick and tired of being blamed for things that I didn't do. I didn't invite Red. I didn't ask Red's friend to cook a steak in a vegan skillet. And I didn't understand how I was some sort of a villain about my friend, your friend. She even said it with a fucking attitude like that. From there on in, I was afraid. I was afraid of her snapping it. She's a fucking therapist now, too. I mean, that's fucking scary. When people want to say, I'm a bad person for showing their personal business. No, that was my personal business too. Why was I scared shitless at Dallas? It wasn't because of Dallas, it was because of Harley. When Dallas started dating Harley, that was a really good thing. I got to record a lot of stuff. I got to make phone calls without worrying about interrupting him. I got to call these different agencies that I had to wait on Dallas to not be at the house for. He's got his routine. He gets drunk and plays video games, and that's how he copes. And of course, watching Game of Thrones. And he typed about that, and so did Meg, about the Game of Thrones thing. When I was at Lana and Amanda Ingline's up in Montana, so many places, so many locations, so many names. Yeah, it sounds crazy. It's because I needed one person to act as a guardian. And I did ask for that starting well before Natalie was killed. That's what we were jumping through the paperwork for. People kept telling me to go in and turn it in myself. When you try to turn it in yourself, you get blown off. They'll tell you something is against the law for you, but it's apparently not against the law for someone else to do to you. I knew that what they were doing was against the law because I knew plenty of people who had been, well, incarcerated for doing exactly what Natalie Bollinger and her friends were doing. I knew that they were criminal acts. It's not the rumors. It's the abuse, the physical abuse, the mental abuse, the separating me from anybody who can help me. That's what those lies did. That safety network that I did have in Boulder, they were frustrated. And I was frustrated. They're allowed to be frustrated. And they're frustrated with me. I'm frustrated with them. I'm explaining to them I can't go to Boulder. There's fucking safety issues. I mean, seriously, you're trying to put a tiny Band-Aid on a fucking shotgun wound at that point. Wouldn't it have been easier just to help me to get away from the people with the shotguns? And just so you know, nobody shot me with a shotgun. That's a fucking metaphor. And all these people, I mean, they were heavily involved in the story. Their personal business was a part of that story. Harley fucking throwing tantrums all drunk. Drunk driving all the fucking time. Every time she drove to Dallas, she was drunk. Every time she drove away from Dallas, she was drunk. Meanwhile, can I go to the cops about that? No, first of all, they're not going to listen to me. Second of all, I'll probably end up fucking homeless at that point, because if she goes to fucking jail because I called her in for drunk driving and the kids get taken away, I get blamed because it's my fault that those kids are in fucking custody. I gotta weigh it heavily in my mind. What are the chances of her making it home in Chapel, Nebraska, this teeny tiny town, drunk as a fucking skunk? See, I had to worry about my housing if I told the truth while I was there. If I told the truth publicly. That's why I always told someone. At Sally Treon's, I made sure that I told Jerry Sparks. When I was at when I was at Todd Ryan Cases, I let Miss Peaches know, and she verified that too. You know, I didn't make those issues public until I had to. Yes, Todd Ryan Case was going to help me. Thank goodness Miss Peaches was able to be there as a witness for certain things in that situation that she was a witness to. Thank goodness she was able to get a hold of Chloe Pachovis' sister and get Chloe the fuck out of that situation. Domestic violence was the last fucking thing that I ever expected out of Todd Ryan case. And he was all pumped up on black dynamite on TV and fucking ketamine up his goddamn nose. Oh yeah, this guy's gonna help me for goddamn sure. What scared me even more is that when that shit happened, just like most women, she went back. Even after all of the efforts that we went through to rescue her and not make it all public, and she went back to Todd Ryan case. Now this is a man who was a hero of mine for years. This is the one guy, when Natalie died, who offered me a place to stay, but also he wouldn't allow me to do any of the things that I needed to do to defend myself there. He wouldn't allow me to... nothing. And he wasn't helping me to turn it into the cops. He was telling me how horrible of an idea it was, and then he told me about when he got locked up, sent to a mental institution, and injected with fucking drugs. You goddamn right he's afraid of that. You goddamn right he is scared fucking shitless. Here's a guy who wanted to bring up Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to me on more than one occasion. And I quoted some Dr. King to him, and you know what he said? Well, look what happened to him. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen to me too. And it'll be fine. And the world will still spin. There will still be rapists. There will still be predators. Families will still protect the sexual predators, while the victim of that predator cuts themselves to pieces, like Natalie Bollinger. I love her so much. I love her sister so much. But I also love my sister. And I love my niece. And they were actually threatened. Not pretending or taking things out of context. Playing fucking victim. These people threatened to kill my friends and family, threatened to kill my loved ones directly to me. And I got blown off with the mentally ill thing. And now they get to pretend that I never went to them. Meanwhile, the same things that they tell me today about those things, they're the exact things that I told you that they were telling me before Natalie died. It's not that I went to nobody. It's not that I didn't try. It's not that I wasn't going to therapy. I jumped through all the hoops to show I was trying to get the help everybody told me I needed to get. Like, Jesus fucking Christ, can't you just look at what's going on and fucking go in with me and help me fucking turn it in? But no, that can't happen. I don't even get to say that because you're too busy telling me what to do, what to think, what to feel. When Natalie disappeared, Miss Peaches wanted me to shut down my Facebook and just disappear off the face of the planet. No, Natalie was still fucking alive! Why did I not take Peach's advice? Because she was trying to protect me. I did not need protected at that point. What I needed is to know that Natalie Marie Bollinger was safely at her mother's house. You pretend that I killed her and that I'm some sort of a horrible monster who stalked her. You know what? When she disappeared, I offered every fucking penny I had. Every goddamn penny. And the evidence is still up. You son of a bitches.